Hello everyone, this lesson is for grade 3. We are learning about perspective drawing in landscape, okay? There are a few numbers of, different types of perspective, but, we are going to just focus on how to create one-point perspective, okay? You have been already seen it in a PowerPoint slides in here. And you see that there is actually vanishing points there all the way in the background. That is going to be vanishing points, okay? And then this might be a very easiest things. Maybe we can work on it, okay? So let's work it out. Okay, those are the materials that you need to prepare. First of all, drawing paper, like A4 size or even a bigger is fine. And a pencil, eraser, and a ruler, and a color pencil, okay? If you don't have any color pencil, crayon is okay, but this time, I will recommend using a color pencil because we are going to use some tone on tone using some blending, technique. We have already, tried many times at school from last semester, okay? So I want you to also, work on this, step as well too, okay? So during this project, you need to create how artists creating a space in a visual art in terms of using a one-point perspective, okay? So that way that, you can actually increase your drawing skill as well as you can have a lot of interesting creativity in order to create surrounding area in your landscape, okay? And definitely, this will, give you, a nice sort of, coloring skills when you, use the color pencil. So the first essential questions: how do we artists, create space in art? Basically, a lot of, artists, they want to actually either draw or paint, whatever they feel like it, but they feel like, they like to walk in the picture. You know what I mean? So imagine if you have a flat piece of paper, right? And artists want to, see. Artists want to, see is like, if something is very near and far, those kind of things, they are actually, creating it using a perspective skill then, okay? So please take a look at this one picture here, okay? You probably see the ladybug, right? And one is very, close to you, is much bigger, and comes down to a smaller, and a very, smaller, right? And becomes almost in a dot, right? And try to meet the parallel lines. That's the dots we call vanishing point, okay? This type of linear perspective is called one-point perspective, okay? You see the lines that is going to be made on the the ground and then top of the ladybugs. So that's what we are going to create then, okay? All right, so what is a one-point perspective, which I already just briefly explained it to you, right? It's a type of a linear one-line perspective, okay? But it's a very mathematical way of creating it, illusion of space and depth, okay? That's going to be a one-point perspective, and it's very, very important things to know by the time that when you go up to also in high school level too, or even middle school level, okay? So there is only a one vanishing point, okay? Because it's a one-point perspective, right? Please take a look at this picture, okay? You probably see this picture, when you maybe go overseas, maybe if you actually go out on highways, right? So this is in a particular sort of one-point perspective pictures if you want to get it outside, okay? So this one can be often found, by looking out of a window. Sometimes if you drive on a highway with your parents, you probably see this way then, right? So this is a particular, way we seeing it, one-point perspective landscape. So when you actually create a one-point perspective, definitely in a white piece of paper, you have to draw the horizon line on the back. You see the red lines there, right? Yes, and then you see the points, the dots in a center, right? That's gonna be vanishing point. Okay, so you see the vanishing point in the middle, right? So this is how you are going to create a one-point perspective. So step 1. So how do you do? So you should be ready soon then. Okay. Try to have A4 sides in a vertical direction as you've seen in my PowerPoint slides, and get the ruler and pencil. Try to decide whether you like to hold your paper horizontal or vertical, but I like to keep it in a horizontal direction then. Okay, and then you need to actually put your rulers on and middle of the paper or a little bit above, okay, and try to lightly just sketch the line on it. Then that's gonna be horizontal lines. The next step, okay, you need to basically draw the horizon line and find the midpoints, okay, middle points. That's gonna be vanishing points, okay. That's gonna be a very important thing as you working in your work. The next one. So right now we actually going to create some sort of like a nice landscape outdoor, maybe in a park or something, okay. Or you can maybe draw maybe a kind of a highway scenes. We already see from pictures previously, right? So start with begin with the park scenes, right? You can draw the large trees on the left hand corner. You see the trees up there, and then you can actually see a little bit in a cloud shape of a tree top. Okay, so start with that one then. Okay, that's gonna be your first step. Then next step, you need to grab the ruler. You see the ruler that has been positioned on paper. It should be a little bit of diagonal line, right? So you need to create the perspective line, guidelines, okay, on the ruler, and connecting the bottom of the tree, to the vanishing points. Okay, so you have to actually draw the line then. The next step. Once you create it, okay, that connecting the top of the trees, okay, to the vanishing point. So you need to draw another line on it then, okay. Those are lines on top. You can erase it later. Once you finish, okay, you see the line there, and then you need to add, fill up a little more, trees behind one of the biggest tree in front. And then you see the trees in the mid-size and a smaller, and becomes a nothing and disappear. That becomes actually the vanishing points on the horizon line. You see there? Okay. So that's actually step 6. So once you create a 1-point perspective, this is actually a part of a perspective drawing as you create it on the half side of paper. Okay. Definitely you see the illusion of space and the depth, right? Because the trees and then coming down to and it disappear. This is what we can understand what 1-point perspective means to, okay, us. So you can actually do a little more detail and delicate if you like to, but this is just the step that I'm gonna actually explain it to you then. Next step, okay, in order to make a very powerful look, right? We haven't finished it yet, right? You see the screen there, let's actually take a look at the right side. You need to create another big piece of a trees in the front on the right corner, okay? So repeat it what you are drawing on the left, and please move it and copy to the right, okay? Then begin draw a large tree on the right, and connecting the top and the bottom of the trees to the vanishing point. Okay, it's the same process that you guys actually work on. Then this is actually optional. If you want to make a kind of bricks on the street side, right? You see down here. Then what you can do, you can use the ruler and try to have pencil marks, maybe about 8 of it, right? On the bottom, and then try to have all the lines connecting to the vanishing points. Okay. So this is how you can make some a little bit lengths of your own types of bricks then, if you like to. If you don't want, you don't have to. You can just make the one line in the center if you want to. Okay, so now start using a color pencil. So when you actually start using begin with object in order to draw, I want you to actually start drawing the trees first. Okay, so try breaking your color jobs into sections. Okay, for example, maybe first only focus on the tree top. So try to draw the tree top first. Okay, then if you finish, you can do the tree trunk. Okay, so those are the colors that maybe you can work on it. See, colors are kind of a nice blend on each other, right? And light to dark, light to dark, light to dark, right? So that's what maybe you should focus on. And then this is another one. If you want to actually colors on bricks, you can maybe change the color. Maybe give some more like red and brown or sienna browns. Maybe you can put it on, right? And put down and darken the edges of any object that you draw it on to make the shape that kind of stand out, and it gives you more volume or more kind of a depth and a space into it. Okay, so that's gonna be things you need to create, and then you need to add some a little bit colors on the sky. Okay, and this is a final piece that when you actually finish that one, then okay. So thank you for watching, and then if you have comments and ask questions, you can get me through in EA, and then I can maybe respond it then. Okay, all right, thank you.